St. Stephen's friends, welcome to this Stewardship 2 minutes or so with me. Now, before I get into what I'm going to say today, if you have not watched last week's video that I did, pause this one, go to our YouTube channel or to last week's e-news and watch it because I sort of set the table for what I'm about to say today. Did you listen to it? Great. So moving forward, I think most of you who've been around here for a while, and for those of you who are new, may not know this, that we rely for our funding on the vast majority of it, at least over 90%, on pledge income. Hence, it's why we have our annual pledge drive. But churches in our diocese and in other denominations, for that matter, are all facing the same reality that giving by pledging is going down across the board. And the way forward for churches that want to continue to increase and sustain their ministry and work is to look at how they can diversify that. So I want to emphasize your pledge is highly important, but for the future of St. Stephen's, I also want you to keep these other things in mind that your finance committee and vestry are working on. Fundraisers such as the silent auction that is coming up on December the 2nd are great ways in which we can augment the budget to be able to do the work we want to do. The finance committee also, with our budget, speaking of, is looking at ways in which we can shape it to fit the current ministry needs of St. Stephen's, an exercise, to be quite frank, that we have not done in quite some time, and that is very much underway right now. One of the other things you're going to hear from them coming up here sometime after the new year is planned giving. And that simply is in that activity that none of us want to do, but we all have to, planning for the end of life. When we talk about disposition of our material wealth, please consider a gift to St. Stephen's in that, because I will tell you that despite our very generous pledge giving over the last decade, we have only been able to do some of the projects that have expanded and grown our ministry through some very significant planned estate gifts that were given to us by faithful parishioners. Please consider that, and as well, even in the short term, if you are retired and receive a required distribution, consider giving a portion of that as a gift to St. Stephen's and know that it is tax deductible. Of course, talk to your accountant about that. All of these are ways in which we want not only to be sustainable, but to continue to remind all of us as a parish, as a community, that this parish is growing, is vibrant, and has a wonderful future ahead of it. And in order for us to move into that future, we have to begin looking at renewed ways, particularly in this case, of how we fund the ministries of St. Stephen's. Make your pledge. Do the best you can on your pledge, but also consider these other avenues that we are talking about as ways in which you can continue to support the work at St. Stephen's. Next week, I will talk to you about participation and specific ways in which you can grow in your participation in the life and worship of St. Stephen's. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your presence here, and thank you for contributing to God's work in this community and Oak Ridge and the wider world because of your love for the Lord.